are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. This is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And Brock is going to lead us further down the ape hole.
That sounds dirty. Gross.
It did sound a little dirty.
Welcome to Drop Culture After Hours with the Planet of the Apes.
With ape holes.
Before we even started the show, we were geeking like this.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
But no, so we're going, man. So let's talk about our journey so far real quick. We'll just do a quick recap.
We'll do a Planet of the Apes recap.
Yeah, so Planet of the Apes, Charlton Heston, Taylor, if you will.
He travels back in time inadvertently, looking for a new star in that one, and he lands on Earth.
A future ran by apes.
No!
Yeah.
The reveal is there. You're good to go. You're hooked.
Yep.
And then guess what? There was something underneath them, too.
That's right. Something was beneath the Planet of the Apes.
It was the rest of the rich people.
Yeah.
It was the 1%ers down there, for real.
Worshipping a big nuclear bomb.
Yeah, no. They
Big dick energy.
they had the big DE.
Yeah.
Or BDE, right?
And telepathic powers somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah,
They could talk. Well, generations,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, that whole time, somebody needed to get out of there, so what they did was escape. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, just so you know, the end of the second one, beneath,
Goodbye.
Taylor pushes the button to set off a nuclear bomb that destroys the world.
With a hand that looks like an ape's hand.
Yes.
Symbolism.
But unknown to me and you, dear viewer/listener, 3 people, or rather 3 apes, escaped.
Mm-hmm. They landed in California, of all places.
They escaped the Planet of the Apes, is
They-
what they did.
They escaped that shit, and they went straight to Burbank.
1973.
They were waiting in line to go to The Price is Right.
That's right.
And then they were subsequently slaughtered in the same way that the humans were treated back on their world because they couldn't talk. And they can talk, so everybody was like, oh, well, let's make them a Barbie doll.
Before they were killed, however, the child of Cornelius and Zira, Milo, hold on to that thought for a minute, is switched out for another baby monkey. They just swapping baby monkeys like crazy.
It's powerful.
In Armando's circus,
Yes.
right?
Armando, who is
Ricardo
Montalban.
Yeah.
And that's where we
And
arrive
that's
now.
where we arrive now in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. No,
It's Conquest.
of the Planet of the Apes. I know one of them I'm getting ready to watch. One of them I already watched. Don't know
Hey,
the name. Sorry.
you know what? They're all apes movies. just go ape.
Oh, I did.
Well, this one picks up after that, of course.
Yes.
And we all saw the congressional hearing. We noticed that the one gorilla mom gave up the ultimate sacrifice to give up her newborn baby son, the only chimpanzee born in captivity ever recorded and certified 1 month before the talking apes landed on Earth.
There you go.
right? But they still bamboozled them because at the very end, you get to see the mama, mama.
Little talking guy.
Yes. Guess who that was? Milo. They switched them. So where are we now? We're in the future.
In the far-flung future of 1991.
Right. I mean, shit went to hell on this. Fast for these guys. I mean, it went down. But therein lies my theory from the last one. And if you haven't listened to the last episode about Escape, I go into detail on how I believe everything started.
Yes.
And it was 20 years after that. So within 20 years, we adapted. And I like to think in my mind with this one that the entire United States is like one city. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
He says provinces, but what really? You know, I mean, what are they? You know, is it just really small little towns out there or something like that? I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't know their structure.
We don't get to see that.
Yeah, the structure is Spaceballs.
Yeah.
That's if you ever want to learn where Spaceballs come from, you need to watch Conquest because it's fucking the Spaceballs. Yeah. But it's we've adapted to losing because we already know that all the dogs and cats in the world have died.
Right.
You know, from the last one because of that shit. You know, and the scrolls. Yeah, the scrolls infiltrated it a long time ago.
Yeah. Secret Invasion 0.5.
But the whole real reason why they went down, the Americans, or not Americans, but humanity went down, they knew the humans knew why, you know, and they had all the capability to stop it, and they didn't.
Right. And
then in 20 years later, because, you know, the 80s happened, so Madonna and all that shit, right? But then she killed all the fucking, the Lucky Star shit in that universe, kills all the pets from, it's like it mixes with the gene.
Right.
Okay. No, what?
Okay.
Good God, I gotta cut that shit
really
out.
How that works? But
No,
sure.
it doesn't. That was dumb. No, no. You see how quick it goes.
But I mean, not saying that it couldn't be a bacteria or something or some sort of a
But it's just pets.
disease that affects a certain size animal. Sure, but not. I wouldn't. I don't know. What
But
do
it's
I
just
know?
pets too. Like
It's a simian flu.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it. I'm like, okay, well, if they didn't have, I've never really been a fur baby daddy or whatnot, you know, 100%. So I don't really understand. If you did lose your pets, a lot of people would be lost. So I get it, you know, and then you have something that can maybe learn a little bit more than fucking Otis the dog. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Cats don't learn. They're just assholes. You know what I mean?
Mostly, yeah. Mostly, yeah.
So that's where we're at. That's where we begin this movie, which now we need to get into the principles of the movie. Who was in it?
Well, obviously, can't get Roddy McDowall to not play an ape. So not only did he play Cornelius, he plays his son, Milo, soon to be named something else, referenced by a different name altogether somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
Caesar.
Aldo.
What? Yeah, there's like tons of different names for him.
Well, I'm gonna fight somebody about this. This is ridiculous.
Why are you checking me? Why are you checking me?
I mean, I could have saw two. And I'll get into it. But you don't get to throw a third one in and beneath.
Yeah,
or not beneath.
In
Escape.
Look at it this way. History, of course, is there, but they didn't have the exact facts, so they made up their shit along the way.
You mean like
and
the
it
Bible?
Changed. Yeah, it changed. Yeah, the lawgiver, basically changed a lot of shit.
Yeah, sure.
But because that was after the lawgiver.
Yeah,
but it is weird.
Yeah, it's just weird that whatever. I don't mind that he chose his name, but they called him that prior to that, like in the movie.
I don't know. Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he. I don't think
that's when he became Caesar.
I don't think he referenced his name at the very beginning. We all knew it was Baby Milo, but I don't think he said his name. Mm-hmm. I think they said, well, because of course Armando's Ricardo Montalban's talking him up like he can ride a horse, while he's going into the city, and this is the first time for him to go into the city. So you're getting the future aftermath. No nuclear war, but just like a germ warfare that killed the pets, and humans were like, I can't live this way.
Yeah.
And then we got monkeys, right?
Again, he should have. Armando should have just taken him to the Everglades like the original plan from the last movie.
So has the world
Let
become...
him go. Matthew Broderick could have brought some chimpanzees out later, or some rhesus monkeys, rather.
But it's almost like
Not trying to monkey identify.
There's like this weird... When did it go totalitarian, almost? In that weird way?
Oh,
where it was like
well,
1984, and then there's
look
the
how
big...
fast it happened in Demolition Man.
Well, yeah, and the big-ass speakers and shit everywhere. It's kind of like, this
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense, but I can understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
Humans don't have to do shit anymore.
Yeah, so
you know,
it's
at that
a
point.
little bit like Magnus Robot Fighter.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, kind of. And then you got these apes that...
They're like the robots from Magnus.
Eventually,
Robot Fighter.
eventually they're going to revolt. It's
Right.
going to happen. One of them's going to be like, whoa, hey, guess what?
I'm glad I'm referencing back to that comic that most people probably are like, what is he talking about?
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. No, it's an old school comic from like the creator of Tarzan.
Yeah.
If you don't know, it's fucking pretty badass.
Burroughs, right?
I think so. Yeah. But it was set in the future, so this is the future.
It was
for
also
them.
a Valiant comic in the 90s.
Yes, Jim Shooter.
Yep.
Um,
Easy to work with, obviously not. Okay.
but yeah, they got this weird dichotomy.
Yeah,
Of these humans, and there's references, weird shit in it, right? That we'll get to. So we pull this up with the actual principles. So, what do you know about the director, J. Lee Thompson?
He directed before this Guns of the Navarone, Cape Fear.
The original, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And you could tell, I mean, his direction's pretty good in this, and you could tell, like, I thought one of the things they do, I don't know if that's him or the director of cinematography or the lead photographer or whoever. But they use the shadow well to hide how unrealistic some of the suits are.
Right.
But they do well because they have a small budget. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's very evident, too, whenever they're going through the plaza.
Mm-hmm.
They're sticking in a row of like 6 to 8 apes on side to side beside Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see them kind of doing this little snake in just one little snippet. And you're like, oh, okay, that's movie making. You know?
Right.
That's how they're going to make it seem like there's thousands of them.
Right.
When there's 200.
Right.
And that was back in the days, so no CGI. So
Right.
it's cool to see those little tricks right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a different kind of a movie than any of the other movies so far, in my opinion.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's a very aggressive movie. It's a very aggressive topic. It just leave out all the social commentary bullshit. I mean, it's just a fucking aggressive movie. There's a
Right.
dude with a fucking blowtorch in it.
For sure. But there is a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of other, it's basically about race.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Yeah. And it's like,
And I would say to some, not just racism, but it's also about
classism.
sure, classism. But I was going to say like cruelty to animals. Mm-hmm.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And you can see how easy the bureaucracy is broken when they don't expect something. So that was always something that I liked too, is just seeing how he could fucking get away with it because he could talk.
Right. Until
What?
the end, when, like you said, something unexpected happens.
Yeah, always. The whole movie does have a really small scene, but it's an aggressive scene of Caesar, Roddy McDowall, lamenting the death of fucking Ricardo Montalban, and he's out there. But what Roddy McDowall has done in these, basically, this is his third movie now, is he learned that fucking mask. The emotion that you can see on Roddy McDowall's face inside the mask.
I wonder if over time, as they've gone through, though, they've changed a little bit of that to make it where he could emote more.
Yeah. After the first movie, you didn't really see their lips move
That's
that much.
true. That's true.
This one, you get to it's still kind of like a fake jaw,
Right.
but you can't see their teeth underneath it.
Right.
You can't see the Ninja Turtle eyes and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's actually like a real deal, and the way that they had them on, they would kind of like, I guess, work on it. You know,
I think this is the lowest budget of all of the movies combined. Like this one was, because the next one was like $100,000 more than this one.
Good God.
Which is really probably less because it's a year later, so the dollar's probably a lot worth less. But you know what I'm saying.
They got even more than less than half. They got a third.
But yeah, I think this was like 1.1 million.
Oh,
1.7 it says.
wow.
Yeah. Made 9.7 at the box office.
That's enough to keep it going.
Yep.
Right there.
Keep cranking them out, 20th century. Let's do her.
You're making a paycheck for somebody, a whole bunch of people. Which, again, it's this crazy idea that's in the writer, too. Same writer for the last three.
Right.
So you're getting somebody that's actually committed to the idea and the project. I don't know if he came up with it first or if he always got to the end of it and was like, how do we do this now?
Right.
Or it was like, well, how did we get there? Point A, boom, let's make these movies.
Yeah, I think that, like, right away, like, I don't think that was the case. I don't think they were like, let's get there.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, make another one because that made money. And it was just forming as he went and, like, you know what I mean?
Those became prequels.
Right.
Holy shit. So these could technically lie in that very first round of not sequels, but prequels to something that you've already seen, but they were sequels.
Sure,
What the
sure.
fuck?
I know
You know what I mean?
you're saying,
Yeah, it's like they came out afterwards, but they explain how you got to the first one.
Yeah. Like the Star Wars prequels.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and this was before Star Wars.
Oh, well before. Like the last one was before Star Wars.
Right. No, it's just like all these, it's like this amalgam of this idea that Home Dude had, Paul Dinn or whatnot, and just kind of ran with it. And I was like, But like you said, at the time, wasn't even probably thinking about that.
Right.
It was like, oh, you know
I'm
what?
sure as a competent writer, which
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy seems, like you're trying to find those connective tissues as you're going, but when you don't expect there to be a second one or a third one or a fourth one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can still do it.
You're
just
riding
have
the
to find
wave.
a new way, right?
Yeah, you're riding that wave. You're figuring it out like, oh, shit, I missed this last time.
That's right.
Or I remember this one part that I wrote for this that we didn't use, but we can use over here.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the highlights of the whole series of how easily connected it is.
Yeah.
Easily fucking connected.
Yeah. I would say the biggest surprise for me in this movie was that Armando was Armando, that Ricardo Montalban returned as that character. I was happy to see that.
Fucking A.
Because you can't go wrong with the Ricardo Montalban.
And this was even before
Not even in Spy Kids 3.
Ricardo Montalban was a fucking badass. He hadn't even welcomed his first guest to Fantasy Island on
That's
SNL.
fucking crazy right there.
He'd been around forever.
Tattoo by his side.
He
just had a seizure.
He's been around for a long time. I don't really know a lot about Montalban. I just know that the things that I've seen him in, of course, he's fucking Ricardo Montalban. That's all we got to say. Yes. Natalie Trundy's back. She was... Yeah, now she's indebted.
Yeah.
She's part of it.
Yeah, she's part of it. She's been absorbed by this family of monkeys.
Right. And then
Apes, sorry, don't throw me around, Cornelius.
and those are the three principal ones that were technically in the other part of the series, right?
And then we have Don Murray
As
Breck.
Governor Breck, the dickhead.
Governor Dick.
Beating he no problem. Never mind. Rightly deserved. Editing.
But, that guy, some people you're like, oh man, that's a good bad guy. I didn't like Breck, but it's not because he was a great bad guy. It was because he was a bad actor.
Yeah. He's really bad. He does have a Fall Guy credit, so I give him that.
Well, he seems like a guy that would be,
yeah.
off the side on a Fall Guy somewhere.
Yeah, but
probably got his ass kicked.
Yeah, he was a lawyer in it.
Yeah.
He's the dickhead lawyer.
Yeah, nobody liked him. Go ahead.
You got Harry Rhodes. He's another one that you feel like connected to because he's pretty good at it. He's pretty smart. Yeah. He knows, for one, he's black, right? And he's seeing everything that he was told about, in his entire life growing up, everything, and knowing, the background, everything like that, and then he's watching it happen, but yet he's always on the defensive side.
Yeah, he's very empathetic.
Yes.
To the apes plague, because obviously, like, growing up a black American let's say, like, this movie came out in 1972, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was still a shitty time.
Yeah. And it was before the big rise of the, it might have even been in the middle of the blaxploitation movement. All of those movies that had come out, because he was a big time guy in that, everything that I've seen, but...
Yeah. I was going to say, like, right after that, right?
Yeah.
It was really kind of the...
mid-70s type shit. Yeah. After Dolomite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not an expert.
Yeah. But no, it's pretty cool because of the very first scene that Caesar has with him. He sees him and he knows, all right, that dude's a good guy. Yep. I mean, he emotes it. I mean, he really sees it. And it's whenever they're, lousy inhuman bastards. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Severin Darden is a badass dude that's been in tons of shit. For real. Saturday the 14th, some people might like. He was in Real Genius, Saturday the 14th. What else? Oh, good God. We were looking through his deal earlier and it was like...
Saturday the 14th, an upcoming episode.
Ooh.
Down the road.
As a squeakle?
Oh, but there is a sequel to that movie.
Yeah. Sunday the 15th?
Nah, is that what it's called? I don't think so.
Maybe.
I think it's Saturday the 14th Strikes Back.
I remember those. But you'll recognize this dude when you watch this movie.
For sure.
You'll look at him and you'll be like, okay.
You've seen him in things.
Everything. I guess we did kind of gloss over that John Randolph was in it, but it was not that big of a deal because it was the exact same thing from the other movie, his congressional hearing findings.
Right.
I'm like, ugh. And then Laser from American Gladiators.
Except it's not.
It's not. It looks like fucking Laser, dude.
I had to look up what Laser looked like. And I was like, oh, you're pretty spot on. Your memory of what the American Gladiators look like,
it's fucked up.
Yeah, it confounds me.
Because I did watch a little bit of the special the other day. It was pretty good.
Okay.
I wish it would come back on. But no, his name is H.M. Wynant. And hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, sorry. But he looks just like fucking Laser. He really does. He's a Mannix dude. You won't really realize he's a henchman. You know what I mean?
True.
Most of the apes were background characters. There were some principal apes, but nothing really like huge, like Caesar, of course. But we did get to meet some apes that are going to be continuing on. Because it is kind of like like he said, it's the night of blood. Basically.
Right.
So from that, they've lived through it. So now it's like reconstruction, pretty much, which it spread really quick. And that's the thing that with the time stuff, if it broke out there, where are they? Are they in California right there? But then how did the other apes hear about it? But how did they understand it? Because Caesar was living over here. He wasn't communicating with the entire earth full of fucking apes, right? To get them to revolt at the same time, they just heard it and were like, oh, fuck it, let's go. See? Or there were other smart apes.
I don't know. But I don't even understand how when he gets the apes to, like, do things, like, he just looks at them.
Yeah.
Like he's got monkey telepathy or something.
And they use that fucking Calliope music.
I know. Oh. Is that like ape telepathy? Is that what that is? Or is it just like through micro... movements of my body language that I'm telling you to dump that trash, dump that trash.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here, take the mop. Do. Come on. I mean, in 20 years, this is the very beginnings of them domesticating them too. So they're still teaching them.
Right.
But the thing about that part about it is they're teaching them, but they're still always fucking up. Right. Everywhere they go, the ape is messing up. So it's like, why fuck with them? But yet, we need that. It's the human condition. It's like, fuck them all.
This whole movie could have been just like eliminated. Everything would have been fine for Milo and Dr. Fantasy Island, because rather than maybe you don't take the talking ape out into the middle of the city to put up flyers. What the fuck?
Where did he? What?
Why? Why would that even enter your mind? Like, hey, come on, let's go put up flyers together.
Yeah.
Talking ape, just in case,
right?
know.
So
we know you're oppressed.
Yeah. So wrap your brain around this, right? They actually talked about it, and he begged him to go. Right? He's like, I want to go into the city. I've never been into the city, And so it became a whole deal in Armando. Was like, fuck it, let's go.
Right.
We go there, we're going to get in trouble, I'm telling you. And then all of a sudden you're like, eat shit.
Yeah.
I'm fucking dead. Dick. That's it. There's a lot of implications that you can use on your own.
Right.
And I think I did that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe implication is not the right word, but I projected what I would think to make it make sense to me.
Got you.
I made up those little extra things.
Like Ricardo Montalban jumping out of the window.
You're right.
Rather than telling the truth.
Right. Yeah, he was like, fuck it.
Hardcore, dude.
But
he was way up there too. That was a long drop.
Like 8 stories?
I don't know, like 8 seconds.
80 stories.
8 seconds, that dude falling.
It was. Good God. And I mean, they're in a room like that, so I don't know what they expected. One of these days, somebody's going to jump out this window. The dude's like, nah, don't worry. We don't need to put a fucking rail up. Fuck it.
Well, you can hear the guy in the background later. He's like, no, it sounded like it was some sort of accident, mistake, miscommunication, something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, what?
No.
No, he dove out the fucking window.
And I like their vision of the future in this movie with these people. Not the vision as in what the culture is like, but what it looks like.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier, it's like
Spaceballs.
It's Spaceballs and Total Recall.
A little bit of equilibrium in there.
New Mexico City, yeah. Subway station, and a little bit of Omega Man mixed in there.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a pretty crazy,
it's a weird vibe.
But at the same time, that's where I kind of made my own thing up. Is the fucking, what are the provinces? What is that fucking story? When I watched these, man, I was like in it,
right? Sure.
In it to fucking win it.
Yeah.
It's just because I didn't think. Well, it was helpful for me to digest them and dissect them for no reason whatsoever, and I love it. This one is my favorite one out of all of them.
It's a good movie. I enjoy it for sure. Like I said, I really like the pacing. Obviously, the same, as we talked about, the same heavier subject. I mean, this is an allegory for it. It seems to be, continue throughout these movies, which is good. I mean, like we've said, some of the best sci-fi is that way.
Yeah, no. It points out, and that again goes to where I was saying the other day too. It's like there's been voices out there that have been like, this is what's wrong. How many fucking times now? Right. And we're like, oh, cool, great movie. And then they're, oh, look at the social commentary, but nobody does a fucking thing about it, and we're faced with it every day, so we know it's a goddamn paradox. It's a fucking Planet of the Apes paradox, because it all ends up in the same fucking thing. For real.
I ain't catching no simian flu, see?
Hell no. Man, you got a pretty mouth. Simian flu. Gross. So
is that the monkeypox?
That's monkeypox. The rage virus. Ooh, there we go. Sequels right there. That's how we bring it into the new age. Rage virus on apes.
Oh, like 28 years later.
Yeah. 28 generations later. Whoa. Damn. Why'd they stop there?
Rage monkeys everywhere.
I thought they stopped at every 28 days.
I don't know, but I'd have to find that kid that played Ricky Bobby's son that will come at you like a spider monkey.
Come at you like a spider monkey.
But I want him to somehow be in that movie.
And go at somebody like a spider monkey.
Or have a spider monkey take his face off.
Yeah. No.
That's a whole different podcast.
Whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the actual movie.
Yes.
Conquest.
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Great movie from start to finish. Kind of basically, you want to start going through the movie? real quick?
Sure.
I mean, it's a pretty simple premise in the way that, the ape or Caesar, which is Milo.
Right.
I really don't think they mention his name. Like you said, too, they brought him. Armando brings him into the fucking city where he knows apes are mistreated. Maybe Armando didn't know, right?
Bullshit.
I don't know if he went into the cities or if he just sent in his fucking circus.
Well, then why
ants,
didn't
right?
he do that in the first place?
Well, yeah, exactly, right? or start acclimating him to that shit, Not when he's a toddler.
Get in a circus intern.
Yeah. Because it's 20 years later and he's had Caesar grow up in his care.
And he rides horses.
He rides horses and he doesn't understand.
That's going to tie back later on.
Yeah.
Earlier.
At first, because they like, it's weird because they show up in a helicopter. So that's where I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, this is more advanced, technology advanced. It was fast technology advanced, but it really wasn't.
No.
It was just it was a coat of paint. But so we get to see while they're walking through these courtyards and Milo is kind of fucking around like, why are they doing this? Why are they like this to us? And of course he's going through the whole deal. And then he tells him while they're walking why they became the way they were. Shows him the statue of the dogs and the cat, basically everything that we know,
Right.
from the other one, because humans couldn't have no pets. So they
Right.
had to invent their own pets.
So this flu that started, it was in 1983 that all of them got wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
All dogs and all cats.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is down 1991. So in less than a decade, they've subjugated
And
apes,
domesticated.
not only as pets, but as servants.
Yeah. And their menial jobs are like carrying packages.
Yeah.
Go to the library for me, Zelda.
Yeah.
What the fuck? The foresight with what they were doing, but they didn't have a lot to work with. So budget constraints. So you're not really going to see a lot of that shit, but it can be done. You know what I mean? And that's and this is a little bit more of that movie trickery because they only have like 3 or 4 real sets.
Right, right.
Ape management is the shit. But yeah, no. So they're doing their thing, the flyer stuff, and every place that Ricardo Montalban and Caesar go into, one of the apes is messing up.
Yeah.
You got the hairstylist ape,
the one that's like picking the bugs out of the hair.
right?
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and then you have the one that was afraid of fire. You had the one that was nearly fucking passed out, exhausted.
Yeah,
They're even out in the courtyard, and they have to shock that fucking, and which is horrible too. I mean, it's just deplorable treatment to something that's doing something for you.
Right.
I mean,
Agreed.
and even. When she's smoking, she's like, now that I know they won't kill me, I don't like them anymore. Like, what? What the fuck is that, right? And I mean, they had...
all how the tables have turned.
Yeah, right. Also, gorillas, I guess, are more subservient in the way that they're like... Because you look at the hierarchy.
Right.
We haven't seen a lot of the orangutans in a lot of different places here. This is mainly where we see the chimpanzees because Caesar's a chimpanzee. And then the gorilla side of it.
Right. Because he gets in with a bunch of orangutans.
Yes, yeah. He gets in because they're technically a little bit smarter, so I think they learned a little bit faster in this universe. Right. I don't know if it's real.
Well, so that's when they see was it the gorilla getting crap beat out of him?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And,
huh?
Yeah.
Why were they doing that? It was like he was going to ape management or he was going to somewhere. And I think that he got like, he just kind of maybe tussled a little bit, and they were like, bam, they started kicking the shit out of him. And the dude's like, ooh. I think that dude can talk.
Yeah. Caesar yells.
Yeah, lousy human bastards.
Yeah, something.
And
then they're like, did he say that? And Ricardo Montalban's like, no, it was me.
He's yell, lousy human bastards. Lousy human bastards. Yeah, that's him. That's fucking
the other
him.
guy's like, I don't think so.
No. And then all the people are like, his monkey talked. But then he runs, right?
Yeah.
Because he knows, because even after they get off the deal and he's got his clothes on, they stop him right there. They're like, you got permission to dress him like this? Like, whoa. Yeah. That's kind of fucking crazy, right? So
we see the colors too, don't we, in this one?
Yeah. This is the beginning
which is where, like, in the first movie, they were kind of all wearing those colors anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no reason for it. But
right.
Yeah.
This one starts off with the chimpanzees, shows them in the green jumpsuits. Then you got the orangutans that are in the... it's kind of, I think they were kind of orange, and then you got the gorillas in red, which the gorillas in red are the aggressive ones. Right. Gorillas are more aggressive than chimpanzees, I guess. I don't know. Something.
I don't know the rules.
Yeah, I don't know the simian rules.
I know I wouldn't want to fight a gorilla or a chimpanzee or an orangutan.
Nope. Hell no.
So,
and well, I mean,
not
he has
a fist fight.
Yeah.
Like if I get it like a gun, I'm fine.
Yeah. He has to adjust his walk in. He has to do everything, and then whenever he screams, he's like, "Fuck!" Yeah. So he runs off. Home dude finds him in the stairwell and is like, "Listen, dude, everything's gonna be cool," and it's not.
It's not gonna be cool.
It's not gonna be
just like
cool.
when they have him sign that paperwork.
And nothing's cool at this point.
They don't read. He didn't read that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead just a slightly ahead.
I don't have my reading glasses. It's too bright.
He didn't even look at it. He's like all smiling, like, I'm getting out of here. I could just sign it and leave. Oh, okay.
Sweet.
I'm out of here. But you're not.
You're
getting the truth of fire.
So he has to turn himself in, because that's a sad moment too. Because really, Caesar is like his son, or Milo. Milo is like his son because of the human part of him. Yeah. But then also it was like the ultimate son for Armando, because he was a circus animal that could reason with him.
Right. No, that's true.
That's fucking cool as shit, right? I mean,
it's the best of both worlds.
And you know how proud he was of the circus anyway?
Yeah.
And imagine a personality like that. Having that person, you're going to give them a lot of fucking faith in themselves, and a lot of like, you know what, we're going to take this shit down. But that's what Caesar kept seeing, or Milo. I'm going to refer to him as Milo. Milo's been seeing everywhere. He sees how they're exhausted. He sees all this shit. That's where he yelled. And when he runs away, they kind of let him go because, they drug the one ape. He runs away. Armando finds him. Armando's like, listen, dude, if I'm not back by tomorrow morning, or no, tonight, sneak onto a new shipment.
Yeah.
Okay. So he does, because he doesn't come back.
Right.
Armando's begging for his life, but Governor Breck becomes a pretty big player at this point, because he's being a fucking complete asshole. Yeah. We've already seen one of the guys that's in the cabinet, I guess, the governor's cabinet, and he's a good one. And he was the one that was defending the ape in the courtyard or whatnot, right, by the fountain. And so they literally they start in on him like, hey, guess what? And they're like, hey, and Governor Breck's like, he is the one that is like the most evil kind of person. He's a non-caring fucking what do you call it? Not psychopath, but yeah. He's a psychopath. Yeah. And, it just is sadistic. Yeah. Because it's almost remnant of plantation owners and shit like that. Oh, yeah. Like unfeeling, just fucking, they don't got a mind of their own.
Well, I think that's part of the message, right?
That's one of those underlying, like, hey, we need to say something about this. Yeah. Didn't really need to.
But, maybe they did.
But it was really cool.
Yeah.
It did identify a lot of people with the series. I know about that. There's a lot of people that really got into it.
Oh, really? Because of that?
From just the social commentary of the whole, all of the film. So it was kind of multicultural. Yeah. Because there was not one central kind of it was all apes and they were all different. So
the only property I like, the only thing that they put out that I didn't get that was really from the Saturday morning cartoon show.
No. There's just death.
They weren't brave.
Yeah. So basically he sneaks onto a deal and gets processed through ape management, which ape management is fucking psycho. Yeah. Right? So every ape gets transported in a truck with a cage in the back. But since Milo can read, he can do things that they can't. So, and he uses his scream, that was something he could make with his mouth,
Right.
It was pretty crazy. And he was like the dominant one, immediately when he would step in, every one of them knew that, like, oh shit, this guy knows everything. So they bring him in and they take that really slow walk around ape management. Mm-hmm. And like the first one they go to, they're savagely beating these fucking chimpanzees with the lights flickering.
Yeah.
Batons. It's a whole police force. And they're kicking the shit out of these 3 so they could pour water. That's what we see. They're pouring water. And they're screaming, do at them. Do, no. It's just 2 words. That's all they really get. Which is ridiculous too. Demeaning. Right. Shitty. So then the next booth, they have the fucking fire training, which he's just like flaming shit, right? Right. Serious fucking, like, serious. And there's another guy on the other side with a banana. So they have to get through the fucking fire to get the fucking banana. And it's just like, what the fuck? Yeah, right. Even the guard, like, he relishes in it because he kind of looks down at, Milo, and he's like, what are you looking at? But he notices something's different. Everybody notices there's something different about him. Right. They didn't figure it out until the end, though.
No. Well, and yeah, they really don't.
No.
Because they're like, oh, well, the shipment.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Oh, the Borneo shipment. Yeah, there's no chimpanzees in Borneo. Whoa. How did you not know when he picked up his own change?
How much time was that passed?
Right. Well, remember there was I remember there was a disco room too, right? I forgot what they were doing in the disco room. It was probably like making food or some shit. I don't remember that. And then they show him into their pens, right? So you had the orangutans first, and you had the gorillas, and then you had the chimpanzees, and they forget to turn off the fucking force field, and he's like, wow. So then he learns, right. And then he shares his food. So he already starts laying this groundwork in an inadvertent way so he can blend in. Yeah. He doesn't really know what he's doing, He's just trying to stay alive. So then, they take him to conditioning, which was making the bed, shining shoes. Like, has the importance of shining shoes ever been something that you needed to train an animal to do it because you needed it that bad? For real.
No. And I think that when it was something that was, like I shine my shoes like once a year.
Maybe.
Like the ones that are shinable.
Maybe it's different in Manhattan. I don't know. Yeah. I don't wear wingtips. Yeah. But
like I'll wipe them off.
Right. Yeah. Ooh,
last time I wore those, that meeting.
Those look nice. Every time. So they're little menial tasks like mopping. Okay, I could see that. So Caesar basically schools them all, right? Some of them do it in reverse, but yet he does what no other ape is doing and nobody's really paying attention to is he's actually showing the other apes how to do stuff. Right. Like when to stop pouring. Like, because that's the training they weren't getting. Right. If you actually trained your people or anything like that, right? For all of that, they didn't want them to think for themselves. They just wanted 1-2 things, do this, stop, So it was like, good God, this is way subservient. But yet he's like, hey, stop right there. If they all knew that shit, probably would have been better. Right. But they didn't have anybody to emulate and echo until he comes along, right? Sure. Plus, he also gets laid too.
Yeah.
They're like, grab all the strongest ones.
You're an alpha. Come on.
Yeah. He's like, Yeah, he's standing at the door, and there's that one, and he kind of gives that look like, all right, for king and country. Long live the king. So he's siring kids at this point as an alpha. Yeah. So they're all going to be talking.
Yeah, so did we say that he got bought? Like he got auctioned off?
Not yet. Not yet.
We haven't made it there yet.
Yeah, because he's going through the conditioning. That was the last stop before the next day they have the auction. Right. which is like, what, 3 fucking days away?
Yeah.
And they do talk about, because they put him on an auction block.
Yeah.
Again, degrading, horrible. But they don't realize that he's smarter than them when he picks up his chains when they fall and hands them to the fucking guard. That was not your first indication. This one's different. So they bid on him, and then Governor Brent buys it.
Yeah.
And so he gets in there. What's his name? The good guy.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
McDonald. So McDonald's always been good.
He wasn't so old, though. He wasn't so old.
No. He and then he was.
Old?
No, sold.
Said he wasn't so old. McDonald.
Oh.
Bad. Yeah. It wasn't worth all the conversation, brother.
No, not even. So, yeah, they put him on display. He gets bought by McDonald's. They're taking him into the office, trying to teach him shit, but he has to act dumb. Mm-hmm. But then Governor Brent says, I'm going to let you pick your name because I'm fucking feeling saucy. You know? So he does, and then he's like, well, I don't want him here anymore.
Yeah. He picks Caesar,
right.
by the way.
Yeah, he picks Caesar.
King.
Yeah. Right, he like flips right to it. Yeah. Like he's like, see. You know? Another indication right there that he's smart. Just like with Taylor. It was that you see the same tropes in each one of these movies.
Sure.
That the signs are 100% there, but the people are oblivious to the fact that shit can change. Right. And this one jumps on you. Yeah. Because he's filing paperwork. What's he filing? Biscuits? Star Trek discs? You know, like the Star Treks, they had the fucking wooden blocks that they would put in shit. That's what he was sorting and shit. Yeah. And that was a set piece that they had used for Beneath. The circular, tube.
Yeah.
They use that. So there's like Ape headquarters, Ape management. There's a governor's office that we get to see, which is just an office, you know. Right. And then Armando is still basically getting fucking tortured. You know, we didn't talk about the electronic table. Yeah, Armando, Ricardo Montalban.
Oh yeah, I thought he was already jumped out the window by this point.
Not yet.
Oh,
Home dude gets sold.
Yeah.
It's so fast on their end, and he's still getting interrogated. You know, so they every once in a while. Well, pretty much after he got sold, they cut back to him, and they're like, "All right, you're free to go." And he's like, "For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I'll sign that paper that I didn't read, and then you're gonna give me the truthifier."
Yeah. And then they got laser sits him down.
That wasn't the name of it.
It was like the truth beam or something like that. Verifier. Yeah. We have to verify your statement.
Yeah.
Verify. More like borify.
So basically, it's like a ray that acts as a truth serum for the most part.
Pretty much. Yeah. Which is pretty imaginative. Yeah,
sure.
It's a good idea. Yeah. And he pretty much just breaks out of his chair once. Yeah. And they don't even stop him.
Well, if you're going to put somebody in a truthifier, you might want to strap them down.
Yeah, at least put their head back.
You know.
Because every time you lean forward out of the ray, you'd be like, what are you doing to me? No, you know what I mean? It's like all he has to do is kind of lean slightly over and be like, no, he never talked. What was that, Armando? No, he never talked. You know, just kind of off to the side.
But rather than that, he jumps out the window because he does not want to rat on his friend.
Yeah, because
son.
Yeah,
surrogate son.
Yeah, his only love, the circus animals. Because he
out of all the animals,
the chimpanzee is my favorite. Even then, all of his boisterous boasting and everything like that, he thought he could get away with it. Yeah, 20 years later, but they're like, fucking nope. So he's dead, and Caesar finds out from basically McDonald gets word where they're at the not ape management, but the ape control room, where he's filing, and he finds out homegirl, the one that Lisa, the female ape that he takes interest into, is like, oh, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? You can tell that she's already evolved in a way that all she really needs to do is try, which she does. Yeah. And so this is the one deal that you can look at like total cheese, or you can look at it like, well, that's a pretty good job. Is when Roddy McDowall goes outside to cry.
Yeah.
He finds his own place and he can't hold it any longer, and he screams, but then he gets scared because he's screaming, and he'll get busted for that shit, and all he wants to do is fucking kill everything, and there's no vengeance.
Yeah.
You know? And it's so sad, and you see the tears, and you see just the emotion that he has, which I always thought was pretty fucking awesome. You know?
Yeah.
And then he's like...
I didn't find that cheesy at all.
No, well, yeah, some people, yeah.
I thought it lent a little gravitas to it. Yeah.
I think it really did kind of show me a long time ago that the movies do have more emotion to them, and they're not just cheese, you know? It's not just stupid. People put a lot of thought into it, and for him to kind of, it's almost like I'm not going to compare it to Shakespeare, but that would be my monologue if I ever like tried out for something. I would do the Caesar one.
Nice.
I'd just walk and scream. Ah! So basically he takes his vengeance on them.
Yeah.
He figures out their system, which is easily broken.
Yes.
They just write down shit that they want and they don't check it. So they're stealing knives, they're stealing fucking forks, fire, kerosene.
I don't know, where was that at? Where were they at when he was like, everybody's turning in their weapons? Like they have some like secret base?
Yeah, it's like an underground deal.
Yeah.
Might have been someplace where, somebody else knew where it was. I, again, like to think that he had a friend. It was like, oh. Yeah, and he goes down, he's like, whoa, we're right under the high school.
Good job.
Way to go, Toby.
Brutus?
Yeah, hey, Brutus. Yeah, what would their names be? Yeah. And he's the one that turned them in.
Yeah.
But no, then they get into the whole subversive, taken from the inside, like 145, one repaired Colt 45 and 100 bullets. Wow. He even makes fun of one of them that come up and they gives him like a pizza cutter or like a can opener. He's like, okay. He even looks over to him like, this guy is fucking awesome. And then he even lights the fucking torch. He's like, they're like, holy shit. And he's like, yeah. Fucking great, kind of like little montage. And then them, like the one chimpanzee that was in the cook, and he throws the fucking shit, but he steals some stuff first, and then he runs away. So ape management is getting overrun.
Yeah.
But Caesar had heard that. Right after he got to their control center, he said, there's just not enough people versus these apes, and we're overrun at ape management. So Caesar heard that. So that was a little plant for him to be like, how do we fucking do this? Let's overload the fucking system.
Right.
And they'll have no choice but for us to fucking bust out, you know? It's pretty much his whole plan was wrapped up in that one little phrase. It was like, yeah, ape management's overrun. Huh?
All I needed to hear.
Man, that's all I needed. And he was just waiting for the right moment. Just like every revolutionary would wait for the right fucking moment, and his grief and his fucking
anger,
pain, the suffering that everybody's gone through is going to erupt.
Yeah.
And he was the voice of it, literally. He was the tactician. I mean, he was such a smart ape compared, but not like super smart.
Right.
He wasn't a genius. You know? He was just, he I guess, average IQ ape. Yeah, he was like MacGyver.
But he was inspirational, and that was what was more important.
Right. So
as a leader, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just because he was a smart ape doesn't mean the other apes would rally behind him necessarily.
Right. And there are, most of the apes are like ready to go. Yeah. So whenever it gets to them pretty much being like, all right, let's do this. And because he gets arrested because they're looking for him. McDonald's trying to hide him. And then he kind of comes out to McDonald. He's like, I understand you. Because McDonald's still at this point is like, I wish there was a way that I could make you understand. You're like, dude. And he's like, I understand. And it blows his fucking mind. Yeah. So there's another trope of the Planet of the Apes. Right. There's that fucking...
That moment.
That one moment you're like, oh, what? Okay, whatever.
Well,
We've seen him talking.
We all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, we all see him talking, you know.
Right. No surprise for us.
Right.
Yeah.
So they eventually catch him. But right before they catch him, no, it's afterwards. But so they catch him and they take him into the electricity room.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, this is it. You know, we're going to get you to talk, motherfucker. So they hook him up to that weird shock table.
Yeah.
With the weird arm cuffs and shit, you know, and it looks painful.
Yeah.
And then they're like, do, and they're just cranking those dials, and it's fucking shocking the shit out of me. But McDonald knows already, because he already split with him once, let him go. This is a fucking second time, right? So he runs out of there. He's like, I can't do this. And he runs by all these people, and he goes into the control room. And if this is a citywide, and this is the only one, why was there only one shock table in the whole fucking place?
Well, you can't be shocking more than one person at a time. Come on,
but that
man.
Shock table was different from the one that was at Ape Management. Doesn't make sense. How would they have all these controls? But he finds the one that's like, yep. And because Roddy McDowell does break, Caesar breaks, and he's like, have pity on me, or have pity. Yeah. You know, and they're like, oh my God. What?
He's a talking ape.
I knew it. Right? And so, Home Dude's the other guy, the Culp or whatnot. Yeah. He's the one that's, when the dude is like, so you want me to, we'll have this ape ready to be killed in the morning. Yeah. He's like, well, he's wired for electrocution, isn't he? Yeah. Why don't you electrocute him? But we know that he kind of faked it, which is pretty good. He's a good actor. Yeah. Yeah. And then they're leaving, right?
Because that would have fooled them.
Right.
Like, they wouldn't check your pulse.
You know, the dude probably thought they have a different anatomy.
Like, he's like brought the mirror up. Yeah. Like, that's the old school way, right? Like doctors used to do with the mirror if there was fog on it.
Glass underneath the... Yeah, you just like put your reading glasses on. No, he's good.
Something. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, nope, he's dead.
All right, let's get out of here. It's Friday. I've got something to do tonight.
Yeah. It was
got a date tonight with the old lady.
Yes. Gotta go home.
Not my old lady, your old lady.
He's like, gonna get laid. What? Because Caesar escapes.
Yeah. Oh, snap.
he almost tree stumps him too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like almost trips him from behind. So that's the savagery. Yeah. And that's the first fucking, he knows it. And he goes back to their little hideout and he's like, he gives them the fucking, the Star Wars look like,
it's time.
It's time to go. Mm-hmm. So they all start rallying together.
Yeah.
And they all start going and kind of leaving their shit. And there was that one little small faction of gorillas and chimpanzees that they meet in this little side corridor while they're pouring shit. And that's where the first bullets start happening, because there's like 12 or 13 dudes, you know, and then one dude's like, home. No. It's like he keeps trying. Yeah. You know, there's even another part where I'm like, dude, they didn't answer the first time. They didn't answer the third. So what's going through your mind when you're like, maybe one more time?
Maybe just a little more reinforcement.
Yeah. I said it once, but I said it 12 times. Maybe they'll listen this time.
Well, I like when the dudes are all out there with their guns, and somehow a simple net makes them lose their minds.
Yeah.
Where they can't shoot guns straight. Mm-hmm. But that's their undoing, because that 10 seconds or 5 seconds of
that was the turn.
That means like suddenly there's 1,000 apes on you, or 100 apes anyway.
That was the turn, and that's how fast it changed, because those gorillas were on the roof with their machetes.
The machete.
And those guys, it's like, who's going to die first? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's going to take the first bullet? And so many of them were killed right there. But Caesar hears it all because he's running with the fucking all of them, right? They're all
Right.
following him. So he's taking these back ways and shit. I don't know how he knew the place. He must have. Plus, they were living underground. There's all kinds of shit that we don't really know.
I assume chimpanzees have a better sense of smell than we do.
Maybe. Or hearing.
Yeah.
They might be able to find something. I'm like, huh?
Like, chimps kind of smell, as we know.
Yeah.
They don't take baths.
They're not going to give them baths. You
Yeah.
think they got a bath? Fuck
Well,
no.
I don't know. They bathe their dogs.
Maybe.
Cats, maybe.
But they were cruel to these apes.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they basically kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And kind of comes down to them taking over ape headquarters. Ape management is overrun. You get to basically they even interrupt their broadcast and they're like, there's been an incident. Wait a minute. They've taken over ape management. Stay in your house.
Right.
You know, so we know shit's all gone to fucking hell.
And Breck's in the safe room.
He's in the map room or whatnot. Yeah, the headquarters.
Yeah.
And so they bust in, and they're like, no, they'll tire out. And they use the fucking blowtorch. And he's like, motherfucker.
And that's when
that.
Breck knows. He's like,
Yeah.
oh,
So,
it's happened. It's over.
right. So, I mean, he doesn't give up. He still tries to go through it, but they get him, and Caesar's about to fucking whack him in the fucking skull. Even brings this deal up, and he's like, nope. And so he takes him outside, right? Because Caesar has just this, he wants to fucking do it. He wants to make that turn. And that is another real good part of the character arc there. Because he really, really wants to fucking just fuck it all. But he knows that there's people like McDonald out there. And he knows that that's not right.
Right.
You know, he's got morals, you know.
Well, and if he kills this guy in front of all them, it sets a precedence, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So he is that natural born leader type of a deal. Well, yeah, he gets Governor Breck outside and he's about to let him have it, right? And he goes through his whole little speech, which is pretty fucking awesome, you know.
Not a little speech, pretty long.
Yeah,
kinda.
it's
And it's up and down. Like, he's a little psychotic in it. Like, back and forth. Not psychotic. Like, just changes in direction.
Yeah, no.
Of where it's going. And then,
Bipolar almost.
Yeah.
So it'll switch from one to the next without even knowing. But they did that in post. I know that. I know.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because you said the ending was changed because it was, like, basically just...
It was supposed to be
the world's over,
harder.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it was supposed to be harder. It was supposed to be them being like, fuck that. But then, you know, they took the social implications and they took all of the other things that are in there and were like, don't go see Joker. You know what I mean? They did that same shit. And, you know, the incels are going. So, which is kind of shitty that they had to use it that way. But again, it was right in front of our face. But we get to see the compassion.
Right.
And that's what separates those apes from the humans.
That's
And-
what separates Caesar from the humans.
Right.
Because there's going to be some of those apes that follow him. You're right.
Yeah.
There's
No.
going to be some of those apes that don't.
Oh, yeah.
That's my guess.
Always is going to have somebody on the inside that doesn't like what you're doing on the outside. And especially with this, too, because everybody's learning.
Right.
You know? And they're only, I mean, he's fucking 20 years old. 20 years old, and he started a revolution that pretty much destroyed the earth.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. It's so nuts. That's it.
Yeah.
That's fucking Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
And so, before we go too far, because I know our next movie's Battle, is this a direct sequel, like, carrying on this story of
Caesar?
Of Caesar?
Do you want me to tell you?
Well, you don't have to.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of familiar characters, of course.
I just didn't know if it was, like, set back in...
Yeah, gonna be in
now, like, 2,000 years in the future. Yeah. You know?
1997. Wait.
Well, here's something crazy, though. So this movie came out in 1973? 72?
72.
72?
I believe.
And I think you're right. And here's... The future was in 1991.
Yeah, that was their future. Yeah. At that point, that was 20 years.
And in 91, that's when the USSR fell.
Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun.
Isn't that when
dun,
apartheid ended?
Yep.
Right around there, too? You know what I mean? Like that was something. Like it's weird that those social issues that they were talking about, some of them tied into what was really going on in the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
even though it was 18 years before or whatever.
Yeah, it was still taking place.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
1983, which is when the virus came out, right?
I think so.
That's when DARPA used Internet Protocol and created the internet.
See?
So that's when the glitch happened.
Yeah. That's when they opened that other portal.
Yeah.
To the fucking alternate universe. It's sucking into ours somehow.
But I thought that was weird how those social events
that they were portraying in there as a fiction.
They're kind of tied in a little
exactly,
bit. Exactly.
Yeah. They were more relevant in the future.
Right. A revolution happened.
Yeah.
You know
the totalitarianistic kind of a deal, the one percenters.
The end of apartheid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. And it was
just
kind of
a lot of ties. So weird.
Yeah. And this was, he also becomes kind of royalty in a way because he is the first.
Because he's Caesar.
Yeah. He's Caesar. And just like in the new movies and everything like that, he basically becomes not necessarily their voice, tactician, anything. He is their king.
Yeah, their king.
Yeah. And that's what, and they're different
that ugly
kings.
monkey doesn't like it.
No.
In the new movies, anyway.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, ugly monkey.
I'm Doug Ugly.
But I want to say that overall, this movie was pretty good, man. This was I didn't dislike. Like I said, I think Brecht's acting was a little wooden, but I think that's just again they had a $1.7 million budget.
That's the time.
Yeah,
that's the time. Those are the people.
And I hope Roddy McDowall always got paid good money to play an ape.
Me too.
I don't know the answer to that, but he definitely did a good job.
He fucking deserves it. The character in the world that he was a part of with the Apes cinematic universe, is pretty fucking rad.
Yeah.
Again, a great part of how these movies work is that they shouldn't work, I guess.
Yeah.
But they work in a block. Like you really linear, yeah, it's going to work. Where does it start? Where does it end?
Right.
That's easy. We already see that. That's going to be the easy part. But the in-between, what we're seeing in the major points of this alternate history of ours, is pretty rad.
I have a feeling that I've seen part of the next movie like a long time ago, but and I'll know as soon as I watch, I'll be like, this is it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I don't think I've seen it all the way from beginning to end.
That's
ever. So,
this one is. I'm not going to say it's the weakest entry.
There's like more horses involved.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've seen a good portion of this with no context other than I had only seen Planet of the Apes and then this next Conquest movie, and I didn't know what it was about. You know what I mean? So it made no sense to me.
So think too. The world had been technically destroyed at this point.
Right.
All the major cities, so they're out in the boonies. Out in the forest that didn't have them, and there's other people that are still from the cities that are there too.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in the other movie, but I just wanted to make sure that I was kind of thinking that was like I said.
Yeah, the progression.
Yeah.
I mean, they really, again, they're so different, each one of them, but having the ties makes it even cooler. But being so different, you can like a certain part of the timeline a little bit more than the other one.
Absolutely.
You have that choice, which is fucking awesome. I love having the choice where to start shit.
Right.
Like one of the coolest things that I do now, and I have just started, is making movie playlists.
Right.
Sounds fucking weird, but when you're talking like Hatchet Order for Star Wars, or you're talking these movies, it's so fucking awesome because these movies don't have those long ass credits.
Right.
So it's like wrap up. I get the fucking next movie. It's the shit when you're watching something like that. So I'm thinking about trying to find a different order to watch these into.
So I think when we were talking about this earlier, you could start at Escape, but really you're only just throwing the first two movies at the end.
Yep.
At that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think it makes sense that way.
How does the narrative work that way? Right? Like what context? It would that's where it was baffling me last night. And I'm thinking about this shit while I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, wow, would I read? But Escape, you can't think you can really start with Escape. It sounds great, like it really would. But what's the context of those space aliens? They're just going to show up. How do you introduce that?
So, yes, they just show up in a spaceship from somebody that we reference left before, right?
Yes.
Kind of like when Planet of the Apes, when they reference, what's his name? I always screw his name up. Les Hyman or Nestle.
Oh, yeah, Hessline.
Hessline's theory or whatever. Or
Right.
whatever it was that they referenced that. And like, I had no idea that it was an actual person until we got to, like the third movie.
Right.
So
And
it'd
it's
be
Roman.
similar, right? You'd be like, oh, wait, they showed up in a spaceship. You as a, like,
Yeah.
let's say, so you've never seen a Planet of the Apes movie,
Right.
right? So you're like, okay, these
You
apes
just-
show
yeah.
up in a spaceship, and it's a spaceship from somebody who traveled out in space a year prior. I think
Yeah.
they tell you that in Escape, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you find out they can talk and blah, 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 blah. So you go from Escape to this, right?
Conquest.
Conquest to
Battle.
battle. Now, because now we're kind of in chronological order, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So now you have Taylor, who flies.
He's the one taking off in that ship right after, you know what I
Right.
mean?
And
Or before.
Right before.
Yeah. So then we get to see the world explode at the very fucking
And then
end.
we get to see the guy that comes looking for Taylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so all this still progresses, but now we also are introduced to our characters from the first movie
At the very end,
at
yeah.
the very end.
Yeah. And at
And
the
then-
very
and-
beginning, too.
And at the very, very end, everything explodes. Mm-hmm. So then you're like, what?
Exactly. Right. and I mean, Caesar, or fucking Zira
Yeah.
and Cornelius, right? So you know them from the first movie.
So they got away somehow.
But then it's like, no, you show them get killed there. So you're like, oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. And
But then
you
they
see,
show up.
Yeah, you see them in Planet of the Apes. You see that revert. You're like, holy shit, it's them.
Yeah, exactly.
They were in the first one. No way. I think that would
Yeah.
work.
And if you could somehow Lucas film it, and you could have one of those mutants be descended from Breck.
Yeah. Or a cantina scene.
Yeah. Just a force ghost of Breck.
Yeah. But it's a hologram. Yeah. It's a hologram.
Next to the nuclear site.
yes. No, I forgot how much I love this movie until I watched it 20 times again.
Well, I'll tell you, so far, I've actually enjoyed all of these movies. And like I said, I'd seen pieces of all of them, I'm sure. But really, the only one I sat through was Planet, and I've watched it multiple times, of course. But so it's been an enjoyable ride. Much more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
Right.
To be honest, I was like, Planet of the Apes. Okay.
But that's the whole deal that really caught me too.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that sparked it. It was like, this is fucking really deep, but it's a plastic ape movie.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what it looks like. It's just so fucking cool to see this story and the way that the writer has crafted this story to fit in a Tetris formation for a fucking, you know what I mean?
Well, and so the next movie we're going to do is Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Do we have to do the Tim Burton movie?
No.
Okay.
We can do all the other Planet of the Apes in one wrap up.
Okay.
Because these I like these better, even though the newer Planet of the Apes.
I like
are
the
fucking,
newest ones. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that Home Dude deserves a Academy Award.
And Circus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like before James Franco was canceled, I liked him. I liked that whole movie. That first movie was
great.
really awesome.
Yeah.
And then the way they tied. The series itself was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I mean, the way they introduced
obviously-
genetic kind of nanomites or whatnot.
Yeah. It
you
was
know
like,
what I mean?
yeah.
They were ending Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great way to put it in there.
Yeah.
And then if you can't have that movie without Andy Serkis,
Oh, 100%.
which in the last one, the emotion and everything with Woody Harrelson even, is just fucking amazing. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not like this. Conquest is way cooler.
I was going to say that Andy Serkis should probably stick to being in movies because he directed that Carnage movie.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry, dude. I need to watch that one again. I've only watched it once.
I've only watched.
And I flushed it immediately. I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, I should probably watch it again too.
Good idea.
Not for this show.
Not for this show.
Anyways, but yeah. So let us know what how you guys are doing on this journey. What's your guys' thoughts on Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and get yourselves ready. Watch some Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which will be coming out here in just a couple weeks.
That's right. Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Battle.
All right, later, dudes.
Peace.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
It wasn't recording the whole time.
No.